The movie begins by introducing a man named Nick. That night while drinking at a bar, suddenly his attention was diverted by a pair of lovers who were arguing. Where the man named Osgood invites his girlfriend to settle down. But his lover always refused for various reasons. Their conversation was interrupted by the presence of Nick, who suddenly forced Osgood's girlfriend to dance. Nick even embarrassed Osgood in front of his girlfriend by managing to remove the wig he was wearing. Due to the disturbance, they decided to leave there. But Nick didn't stop beating and humiliating Osgood.
It's over.
The incident just now amazed Osgood's girlfriend. She didn't expect her boyfriend to be that cool. And finally made up his mind to get married. At the same time, in front of a hospital, a woman was seen who was seriously injured as a result of being assaulted by an unknown person. She was immediately rushed to the hospital to receive first aid. When she was half conscious, the woman didn't stop saying Nick's name. So who is Nick really? Is it true that he is just a loser? It turns out that every day he works as a security consultant. That morning he got a client who claimed to be a young billionaire named Cyrus, where he asked to be accompanied to gamble while in Las Vegas. Nick also agreed to accompany him for a while. From there Nick went to a restaurant for breakfast, but while in the parking lot he met Osgood again, who looked very happy. He was very satisfied with Nick's acting last night. So it turns out that last night's incident was just an act, to convince Osgood's girlfriend that he was a real man. Therefore Osgood paid Nick double, but Nick was not a money man. He politely refused the bonus given, because from the start Nick only wanted to help his best friend's romantic relationship. At breakfast Nick chatted with the restaurant waiter, who was very familiar to him. Nick said he had a dream where he really wanted to go to a small town in France, and spend the next 5 years relaxing. But to make this dream come true, Nick needs at least $500,000. Before leaving the restaurant, Nick was told by his friend that Holly had just called and asked him to stop by. Turns out Holly is the dying woman we saw earlier. I don't know what their relationship is, but Nick and Holly seem quite close. At her house that afternoon, Holly began to tell the chronology of events several days ago. Where she had just come home from a date at a hotel, suddenly 3 unknown people entered the elevator and forced Holly to go to a party, which turned out to be a trap. In this unknown person's room, Holly was raped. And when she was finished, the 2 male bodyguards beat her so she wouldn't dare report this matter to the police. Now Holly wants revenge. Nick himself felt sorry but also a little annoyed with Holly, who had entered a hotel which was clearly the nest of the mafia. In fact, Nick had often warned him long ago. And in essence, Nick said that Holly should hire a lawyer or detective to investigate the case, and not ask for his help.
Then I've stayed away from them and they stayed away from me.
But in the end, Nick, who couldn't bear to see her friend being raped, finally agreed. After that Nick went to the hotel via the back road. He met his old friend named Millie, and happened to work there. Nick asks Millie for help to find out who molested Holly at the hotel where she worked. Then Millie told Nick to meet her at her usual eating place. That afternoon they met, and Millie said the boss who abused Holly was named Danny DeMarco. And the other 2 people are his bodyguards. Danny is the son of the Italian mafia, which is quite influential there. And Millie tells Nick not to have anything to do with them.
Fuck with these guys.
In the evening, Nick was seen working with his client, Cyrus. Nick takes Cyrus around Las Vegas. Nick seems confused about whether to focus on his dreams, or leave his life and return to dealing with the mafia. Because Nick realizes Holly won't sue them, she'll get his own revenge. Finally Nick decided to leave Cyrus alone at the bar. Then Nick goes to Holly's house. There Nick told Holly that the person who molested her was named Danny DeMarco. Holly immediately asks Nick for help to get revenge on Danny. Nick again refused, but Holly brought up Nick's past, saying that in the past Holly had helped Nick because Nick was in a slump. Finally Nick agreed because he felt he had a debt of gratitude to Holly. After that, Nick immediately went to Danny's residence. When he got there, Nick told Danny's men that he had business with Danny regarding a woman on Baby's orders. Baby is the most respected mafia boss in Las Vegas. Hearing Baby's name, Nick was immediately invited to come in to meet Danny.
Searched him?
After meeting Danny, Nick told him his wish.
That was a game.
Danny thought that Nick was Holly's agent who was going to blackmail him. Then Danny pointed a gun at Nick. Nick, who didn't want any commotion, decided to leave there.
Yes, sir. Tell you something about interrupting me, you dumb fuck.
But Danny said he would teach Nick a lesson who dared to bother him.
Kinlaw, take this dumb fucker.
Then Nick tied the three of them up. Then after that he invited Holly to come there. And without further ado, Holly took out a pair of garden scissors to injure Danny. Danny, who was scared, asked for peace by giving him $50,000 in his drawer. But Holly still wasn't satisfied. She also injured Danny until he cried like a child due to fear.
Don't do these, don't.
That same night Nick suggested that Holly get out of Las Vegas. Because Danny will definitely demand revenge. They split the $50,000 in two, and they both went their separate ways. Nick plans to leave town to hide for a while. But after holding quite a lot of money, he decided to double his money that night through a game of blackjack. Initially Nick played it safe with multiples of hundreds of dollars. Coincidentally, the dealer was his own friend. However, after successfully guessing the cards that would come out, Nick was even more optimistic that he would win that night. From previously playing in multiples of hundreds of dollars, it increased to thousands of dollars. However, after the dealer was changed, Nick decided to stop for a while. Not bad, he already made a profit of around $8,000. That night, Cyrus was also at the same casino, but before he had time to chat for long, Nick suddenly started thinking again. Is luck still with him? Out of curiosity, he returned to the gambling table. And sure enough he continued to get victory after victory. People there were even amazed at Nick's gambling skills, who had now won hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whose initial capital was only $100, now he has $506,000. Enough value to make his dream of a holiday in France come true. After playing, Nick chatted with Cyrus for a while before finally going to the chip exchange table. But instead of exchanging all the chips he had, Nick was tempted to bet again. Here we are made to realize that one of the reasons Nick can never achieve his dream is his hobby of gambling. And this time, Nick risked everything in one game. He even took out his cash, so the total bet was $525,000. People gathered again to witness his madness. But as we expected this time he was unlucky. Not kidding. Nick loses everything. Shortly after that he went to the bathroom. Feelings of regret and stress all piled up in his mind. Until finally he fell unconscious. When Nick woke up he was already in the VIP casino room. Cyrus told him about his purpose in coming to this city, and it turned out that Cyrus was not a gambler, but a rich developer at the age of 19 years. Cyrus came to the city to learn the meaning of courage, because he seriously felt that he was a coward. He came to Nick to learn to be a brave man. Cyrus invited Nick to tour various cities and countries, funded by Cyrus. But Nick refused. He came out and sat on a bar stool. After that, Danny's men came to beat Nick. Not long after that the police came to stop him. The next day Baby took Nick somewhere. Baby says that there is a problem that needs to be resolved. Because there is a son of the Italian mafia who claims to have been robbed by Nick. Nick was taken to a room to be tried, and there was Danny. If Nick is proven guilty, then Baby will finish Nick right then and there. Danny continued to corner Nick by saying he had been robbed by Nick, and 2 of his bodyguards had been shot dead. However, Danny continues to hide his abuse of Holly. There Nick asked 2 questions. The first was why he had to kill using a weapon.
Why does anybody use a gun?
Baby knows that Nick can easily kill someone without using a firearm. He can even kill someone with an ashtray from a distance of 5 meters. The second told Danny to open his trousers and show his genitals, which were injured by his own actions.
What is this shit, huh? I'm not stripping for nobody. It's principle.
Baby finally concluded that the person who had robbed Danny was not Nick. Danny, who felt that Baby wasn't helping, immediately left and continued to threaten Nick. Baby finally got an explanation from Nick that his 2 bodyguards had been shot dead by Danny himself, because he had been humiliated by a woman in front of his own bodyguard. Then Baby let Nick go. The next day Nick returned to the small restaurant he frequented for breakfast. Cyrus was there too because he knew Nick would definitely have breakfast there. Cyrus said goodbye to Nick because he was leaving this city. Cyrus thanked Nick for giving him advice, that everyone has their own fears. And now what you have to do is believe in yourself, and recognize your own identity. Then all the fear might not be so bad. Cyrus gave Nick a plane ticket to Corsica as a gift, as well as $500,000. But Nick is not too happy because Danny will soon kill him. Not long after that Danny arrived with his men. Then Cyrus climbed on top of the table and pretended to be crazy to divert attention. Then Nick hid on the roof of the restaurant carrying a spoon and bread knife. There Nick heard Danny order his men to kill Cyrus and burn down the restaurant. So Nick decides to fight Danny and his men. Nick finally succeeded in killing them all. When Nick was about to leave, Cyrus suddenly approached him. And Cyrus continues to force Nick to accept his gift. Nick, who continued to be forced by Cyrus, finally accepted the gift. Nick immediately went home and packed, then he left Las Vegas and went to Corsica. And the movie is over. Thank you for watching. Look forward to the next video.